All right, coming back to you from Channel 5 News, I'm here with Riku Lee. He's one of the Japanese Americans that was sent to the internment camps. So I just had a couple of questions for you, like, what are the living conditions like?
Oh, the living conditions, they're very, very cramped. Not a lot of privacy,
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of food,
Mm-hmm. So,
It's hard for us Japanese people.
so what kind of food do you get in these internment camps?
Not very much. It's they give us potatoes, bread. We eat in big cafeterias, almost like a prison.
So I'm guessing these cafeterias are very cramped as well?
Yes, they're big but very, very cramped. There's a lot of us Japanese people here, and we thought we were American, but they thought otherwise.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about living in these internment camps?
How I feel very upset at the government. We are American citizens. I was not even born in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? I'm so sure. I'm an American citizen. It just hurts my heart.
So do you feel that you have been, like,
I
more or
have been
less...
stripped of my rights, man.
Mhm.
That is what has happened with the government. That is how I feel about your government, man.
Back with Channel 5 News, I'm here with Mio Lee, and I just had some questions about, what did the women in the internment camps do in their spare time?
Well, we just played volleyball, and we made sure we kept the house clean, because there was a lot of us living in there.
What about, like, eating times? Like, were you allowed to eat whenever you wanted, or...
No, we were served 3 times a day, and every serving, they would ring a bell, and we would have to wait in line. We would usually wait in line for like a couple of hours, and if you were older than 5, we weren't allowed to get milk.
Back with Channel 5 News, I'm here with Clyde Smith, and he has agreed for us to interview him about how he feels having the Japanese people in America right now. So, how do you feel like your national security has been, like, compromised, I guess?
I definitely feel better now that they're being watched. Obviously they're not all spies for Japan, but you never know. I mean, they could be anywhere really, so I think it's definitely a good thing that they're concentrated.
Yeah, I see. So, do you believe that the Japanese Americans, like, that are living in America, do you believe that they had anything to do with the bombing of Pearl Harbor?
They could have. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. So, do you agree with the more or less camps that they are in right now, or would you rather have them be, like, somewhere else? But do you agree with what they're doing with the camps? Or do you think it's wrong that we are putting them in camps?
They're citizens, but there are a lot fewer of them than there are American citizens, and so in the long run.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. My name is Maddie Millark, and today's date is February 24th, 2015. It's been 73 years since the Japanese have been in the camps. It's been a while, a lot of stuff has happened. So we've decided to reflect on the story and take a look back. Here's the videos.
Okay, so what were your living conditions like?
Grounds. This was an armed camp. It had barbed wire all the way around. It had guard towers with guards up there, with their guns, and they even had foot patrols, soldiers foot patrolling the perimeter of the camp. So you go into this place, and the first thing they do is assign you to a barrack, if you can call it that. We had huge gaps in the floor, weeds coming right through. Now, the second order of business, they give you mattress covers, and they tell you where to go to get the straw to fill the covers with. And you had to make your own mattress that way. And that night, everybody got bitten by fleas and ticks and whatever else was in there. So that was Welcome to Fresno Assembly Center. And I remember it was just deathly hot. Fresno is a desert. It gets to be sometimes over 110 degrees in summer. And this was summer. Absolutely no cooling facilities whatsoever. Electric fans were considered contraband. Now, we had barracks. Some of the camps were different. They were in horse stables. They kicked the horses out and put the people in.
And how long were you there?
We were there probably 3 to 4 months, a very short time. These assembly centers weren't meant to be permanent camps or anything, just very temporary. That's why they didn't put any effort into building anything decent.
And what did you guys do for fun inside the camps?
My dad was a camp doctor, and he practically lived at the house, but he was hardly home. My mom was sad with my kid brother, who was just a few months old. And because of that, I had absolutely no adult supervision. And I took full advantage. And I was totally out of control. Early on, I learned how to speak out of camp. And forest, that was my attraction. I was fascinated by what's out there. See, where I came from, it's desert. Now I see forest. Wow, this is great. That's what I did. It was a stupid and dangerous thing to do. I was a loner. I didn't tell anybody where I was going or anything. If something happened to me, that would have been it. But some of my experience that I remembered was one time I went out there and I was chasing a rabbit. You know, rabbits they don't go straight. They go zigzag and then backtrack on. They go all over the place. And finally I got tired and I gave up. I knew I couldn't catch him. And as I was catching my breath, something hit me hard. Hey, I lost my sense of direction. I'm lost. How do I get back? So, boy, I started getting worried about this. So I had to have a plan. So what I did was I decided to walk around a circle, larger and larger circle, to see if I can hit a familiar landmark. And finally I did, and that's how I got back. You can bet I never told anybody about this.
What happened after you got out of the camps?
They were happy to go back. And did you want to know how it was going back?
Yeah.
Okay, this is resettlement, we call it. Most of us went back to the West Coast where we came from. And we were not welcome back. We were not wanted. Severe discrimination. We couldn't get jobs. You couldn't patronize certain stores, and you couldn't live any place you want. So there was severe discrimination, and it slowly had to overcome that.
Did you have any encounters with discrimination when you got back that you remember?
Well, yes. I mean, you feel it all the time. The parents naturally felt it more than we did. They couldn't go wherever they wanted. And Dad was a doctor, and he had to make house calls. But he couldn't purchase a car. Nobody'd sell him a car. And stuff like this. And we couldn't go into certain business establishments that wouldn't allow it.
Why do you think that is? What did they associate you with that caused
Okay. The one thing that people don't understand is, why did this evacuation happen? Let me summarize this whole evacuation thing in my words. I think it was unnecessary. There's no justification for it. And it was done illegally through deceit and lies. And because of that, 120,000 of us were made to suffer. I'm sorry?
Was there any resentment during the whole ordeal?
During the process or after or what?
Yeah.
Both, as a child?
Well, it depends upon who you talk to. I'm sure there's resentment, people who lost everything. I mean, they're very resentful. However, See, the younger you are like me, you're asking me through the eyes of a 9-year-old now, you see, and I don't think that way at that time. I'm just thinking about having fun. And kids anywhere will adapt to having fun. But the adults, I give them so much credit for what they sacrificed and what they went through. Most lost everything. Some of them never recovered. It just hit them mentally hard. And in my particular case, I didn't realize how much I had suffered. After I got out of camp, what happened was, because I was having so much fun in the forest, I didn't associate with other groups of kids. I lost my ability to rapport with people. When I got out of camp, because of that, I couldn't deal with other people. I became a recluse, an introvert. And that hurt me for the rest of my life. So in that way, it really hurt me personally, emotionally and psychologically.
Now, did you know what was going on with the war? Was that ever talked about?
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as the status?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's yeah, we were kept apprised of what's going on.
So when things started to wind down and you knew that the end was near and you were going to be maybe going home, tell me how all that came about and what you remember about that.
Can I say something before that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I wanted to emphasize something here. All through the war and even during the camp, in spite of what happened to us, patriotism never failed. Okay? One day, there was a call for servicemen to serve in the military. Thousands volunteered from behind barbed wire. Patriotic. They need help. They're going to help to help toward the war effort. Now, even the civilians that were left behind, they were encouraged to help, and they did. They made war materiel for the war, like camouflage netting. And there's a camp in Colorado, Amache, Colorado. They printed 80% of all propaganda posters that were printed in this country during the war.
How long did it take to kind of get back to where you were? Or did your parents ever get back to where they were before you left?
It probably took him, well, before he went into the camp, he had just established his practice. He was in practice about a year. So when he came back, probably took him a couple, 3 years to get established again.
Sometimes people in the local town maybe felt like the people that were in the camp were treated better than them or had better conditions than them. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Personally, no, because I was too young to comprehend all this. But later, I had heard this and I was in shock. Well, I can understand this, thinking about this. Yeah, here we were given things. And we had electricity, plumbing, where we needed it, and the outside folks didn't have this. See, they're looking at us enviously. But we lacked one thing, our liberty. So I asked people, well, how important is losing your liberty? Is that a good trade-off? Would you do it? I tell them, you can do the same thing. Go get incarcerated. They'll take care of you. All your basic needs of life. But you must give up your liberty. But you've already made the decision that's more important to keep the liberty because you're not incarcerated. So
in the museum, it talks about how there was kind of a change in the dynamic of the family unit for some people.
yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay. Well, before the camp, it was a tight-knit family units. They did things. They ate together. They lived together. And once you got into the camp life, it's communal. The barracks are only for sleeping, and you hardly got any privacy. Your privacy between families were a sheet or a blanket or canvas. That's the divider between families. And then inside we had a centralized mess halls, centralized bathing facilities, and washing facilities. So everything was centralized, and you had to go down there and line up for everything. So because of that, you lost your family unit as far as eating together. That's why I went wild. I could do anything. So it did kind of disrupt the family. Now, I don't know if the parents lost very much control of that after. You know, once you lose something, it's hard to get it back.